Do you celebrate yourself? Every remarkable action or achievement in your life, whether it be your graduation, birthday, anniversaries, or other special occasions and victories, is worth celebrating. Celebrating and rewarding yourself is not only a way to acknowledge your hard work and accomplishment, but also a way to reinforce your positive behavior and mindset. Celebrating yourself can increase self esteem and self compassion, as well as reduce your stress and anxiety levels. Moreover, celebrating and rewarding yourself can also motivate you to keep pursuing your goals and overcoming any challenges you may face. Welcome to another episode of the Prudent People Podcast. I am your host, Julia Hall, and I am so excited to have you in the Prudent Corner yet again. Today we'll be talking about celebrating you. Joining me in the Prudent People Corner today is Mrs. Kaysia Johnson Vaughan, and we're going to talk about why it is important to celebrate you. Welcome, Casia. It is such a pleasure to have you on my podcast. Let's kick off with you telling us a little about yourself.
All right. So I am Casia Johnson Vaughan. How do I describe myself, right? So I always have to say I'm a woman of God. That's first and foremost. I am also a wife and I am a mother. And in the other sphere of life, in corporate, I am the director for see, I'm saying communications? No, I'm the director for small and medium enterprise, which is SME, professional partnerships for Caribbean North and Central. And outside of that, I am a friend and a mentor.
Boy, so like you have your hands full though, Casey, because a wife, a mother, a mentor, a friend and a great friend at that, and all these job related tasks. I can just imagine what
It's a lot.
and what your daily life looks like.
I need more time in a day, but I try to make the best of each day.
Yeah, I can just imagine. So, Casia, as you know, we're here to talk about celebrating you. So when you talk about the phrase celebrate you, what does that mean to you?
Celebrate me. Let me start by saying that I think I'm a bit hard on myself at times. So, because I am a high achiever, I believe in excellence. And so I always raise or set high bars for myself, right? But I've learned over the years that, it's always good to be good to yourself and celebrate the small wins, recognize the small wins. So for me, celebration means a simple thing as, okay, I decided I'm going to now lose some weight and I set a target to lose my weight and maintain my health and I achieved that. It's a simple thing for me where, okay, I now have a new role where I actually have 6 persons to manage. And one of my objectives is how do I be a better leader to my team? And the day that I can hear probably one of my most challenging employees says to me, I am a great leader, then I celebrate that because it means that I've overcome one of my greatest challenge. And actually, that is actually a real story. So I celebrate those small things. And I also celebrate just my friends, my friends' successes. When they do well, I take them out to dinner or we will have a phone call. I create excitement. I'm the biggest cheerleader. I'll support. When it is for me, I'll sometimes my celebration may take the form of at least I take a spa day because I've worked so hard, I've done so well. I take a day and I go and have my champagne, I take my massage, and I sleep and I read a book. That's how I celebrate sometimes. Another time I just go and let them pamper my foot and I have a penny and a money. Another time I might just drive out to the country and I love the sea, I love outdoor nature. So I just go and just take in God's creation. the ocean and just breathe and just live. So those simple things, or I go with my friends and I celebrate. So sometimes we will run together. Afterwards, you have a breakfast and they'll say, oh, so and so achieved this today, something very simple, and everybody will say, let's raise a toast and that kind of thing. So those small things, that's how I celebrate me.
And I appreciate that because, people need to understand that celebration comes in different forms.
That's correct.
So, a lot of people celebrate anniversaries, birthdays, etc. And, you have this big grand event. Sometimes celebration could be by yourself, as you say, drinking a glass of wine in your bathtub, but it's just how you internalize or, along with others, what it is that you are celebrating or recognizing or, that debrief that you have with yourself. So, yeah, I
That's
really going down that road or telling us about how you celebrate yourself. So a lot has happened for you apparently, this year. I mean, I've seen things in the media as well as you just mentioned, being promoted, leading a team of 6 persons. What would you say are the 3 top achievements for you this year? And I know we're like 10 months in, but yeah, for the past year, for the past 12 months.
Okay, so should I say I'm going to take it from all aspects of my life, right? Because life is about trying to celebrate everything, not just one thing.
Right.
So let's take from a professional perspective. I have been given an area to manage, which is not very easy. It is the SME sector, which I'm very, very passionate about. I'm passionate about people's growth and development and just even my nation and how, I can contribute. And I've seen that being in this role for almost 3 years, I've been able to really significantly impact and change lives of persons. And I've heard like feedback from different SMEs who I've interacted with, and they're shared and said, "Boy, thank you so much for the work that you are doing. It has impacted and changed my business because whether it is advice, some of the programs that you implement, or just being there for me when I have a challenge, you can direct me how to achieve that." That has been those. It seems small, but when somebody comes back to you and to say what you have done have affected my business to grow positively, whether it is by 5 to even 100%, you know that you're doing something to really create impact. So for me, that is one from that perspective. The other is, I would say, even my own leadership. So, this year I took on I told myself I want to change some things about me. So I've been in a lot of introspection, because as a leader, you grow every day. And now being given an opportunity to lead 6 persons, it's a really test ground for you. So I created a new structure and looking at how to develop my team. I remember when I started out, I had challenges with, 1 or 2 persons because, again, in any relationship, you're learning each other. So it's not always going to be like smooth sailing. But what I've said, what I can say is that at the end, just even a week ago, one of my staff members would have said to me, "I really appreciate the leader that I'm seeing. And I must say to you, kudos on a great job." And I was like, wow. That to me says a lot because knowing where we're coming from and the challenges in the initial, onset and to how we have grown together as a team, that has really been a big deal for me. So I would say that's, one of my accomplishments. And then, I guess the third one is simply being a mother, being able to impact my daughter's growth and development, seeing how she's becoming a very beautiful young lady, very spiritually grounded. She's only 5, but she will come and say, "Let us pray about this." Or she's like, "Mommy, we're going to conquer this. God is in charge. We don't have to be worried. Remember, God is with us. And when God is with us, we'll never fail." And, when I hear those things coming from a 5-year-old, and then I don't forget the other night she prayed for me. And when she prayed, she said, "Mommy, wasn't that prayer great?" She was praying for the kids in the world who, face challenges. And she's asking God to protect them from all evil and danger. And she's just asking God to help young people, the children, how to be smart and to be focused. And so, what it says to me is the small things that you're taking your time to mold and shape is actually now coming to fruition. So for me, that was like very impactful. And it's very important for my child to know God, because the Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should grow. And so when he's older, he will not depart. And for me, that has been a hallmark of my life, because if I didn't grow up in that background, I think I would not be the woman I am today. Is because of how, my mother, my grandmother took the time to invest in me to learn about Christ, let it be the center of my life. And then everything else, as the Bible says, will be added onto you. So when I look at that, for me, those are my, I would say, heroes, I would say growth for me. Yeah.
Awesome. And I mean, on the point of the professional, achievement, I did a monologue a few weeks ago on this platform talking about the conversations that you have with yourself, and the
Mhm.
fact that external validation, similar to what your colleague said, I appreciate the leader that I'm seeing, that also has a role to play in, how you talk to yourself and what you say to yourself, say to you and about you. So I understand all of that and setting goals for yourself and achieving them. Now, on the point of the growth that you're seeing as a mother, the lessons that you teach your child, and to see her living in that fashion or in that truth that you have laid the foundation, that is awesome. That is really awesome. I'm sure a lot of you know um can attest to that as well, and as well as seeing that in their lives and how they choose to grow their child or children. But we know that when we talk about celebrating you, it's not all glim and glamour, and it's not all roses and all of that. It comes with challenges as well. So tell us, one thing that you're comfortable to share that you would have experienced over the past year, and how you overcame it. What lessons did you learn coming out of whatever that situation is?
Um, so let me just open and say that I never envisioned myself working in a financial institution, right? Because I believe before when I was young, I wanted to be a lawyer, and at one point, I wanted to be in communication. So I envisioned myself, reading, being a news anchor and hosting programs, etc. But that was not what the plan that obviously the Lord has for me. So when I came into banking and then I got into a core banking role, like everybody else, no matter how you say strong you are, your abilities, this is not probably, it was never my core strength. It's an area, it's like God literally took me up and put me in a very uncomfortable position to become comfortable, right? And so being in this space, it has been something for me to, I've had to dig deep. um, and like the last year or two, the pandemic actually, when I came in this role, so I've only had pandemic for the last 2 years. So, and I'm expected to grow and develop the business line. And the truth is, don't have all the resources. It's all new to me. Still trying to figure out, trying to understand, what the customers need, everything together. How do I motivate a team? How do I grow a segment, which I have never done this before? And so it was really challenging. And I'll tell you, at times when, again, that's why it's always good to have your self confidence and know who you are, because the voices are going to come to you and tell you, boy, you can't do it. It's not possible. And I've had to have a lot of self-talk. Like I've had to stand in front of the mirror and I said, well, I'm placing this role. It means that I have a purpose, and I'm here for a reason, and I'm gonna do it. And no matter what it takes, I'm gonna do it. So I remember when I have the targets to meet, and it's really, really, really not easy, because there are things that are beyond your control, which impacts your end results anyways, and you have to find a way to work around them. So I would say for me, the most challenging, being in the journey is I didn't feel confident at times in myself or my abilities, whilst others would say to me, no man, you're doing a great job. I see you can do it. Like for me, they wouldn't understand that I was praying inside, trying to stay strong, because again, you look sometimes, and in the truth, you must never compare yourself to other persons. But when you're in an environment where everybody, this is has been their bread and butter, their life, and they have the jargons, and you hear them speak, and then it seems like second nature, and for you, it's a new language, it's a new environment, it's new everything, and you now have to navigate in a space where you're still trying to figure out how to fix all the challenges that are in front of you. Which one do you tackle first? How do you chip away the to create impact at the same time? Because again, you're being assessed by results, and at the same time, you're also being assessed by if you're delivering the numbers. And so you have to balance, how do I get the numbers even though I have all of these other areas that are impeding me from achieving those results? And so what I would say, one of the biggest lessons I learned in this year is having a good team helps you in achieving those things, because I realized that I could not do it alone, right? And before, I was on the journey by myself because it was just me alone trying to break, but then I got a team. And I took the time to understand people's strengths. What do they have that I don't have, and how to lean on them? And there are times when people tell you the ugly truth, about yourself, right? And I've had many of that this year, some ugly truths where I was like, really? And I had to go back, but one thing I do, I'll take away the feedback and go in my corner and assess myself, and then I say, you know what, I need to adjust accordingly. So, that's one of the biggest thing for me, was knowing yourself, um, being in a very uncomfortable spot, but I learned how to become comfortable till I am now controlling and dominating, because I first had to believe in myself and recognize that if I was placed in this role, it means I already have the grace and the capacity to do the things. And so I've read a lot of books. I do self affirmations. I talk to myself. I pray a lot, and those help me to. Sometimes it may sound spooky, but I'll pray and I'd say, God, I don't know what to do in this situation now. How do I overcome this? And I will hear, speak to this person, call this person, and when I call that person, they have the answer of what I'm looking for. And that's how I was able to overcome, the not so great parts of my life.
And I mean, what you just said pretty much reaffirmed that God does answers prayer, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but certainly, I think a lot of persons out there, they're being placed, or, they get certain opportunities, whether it is job related, or other spheres of life, and they question because they're like, I don't know what to do, or this is bigger than me, like, why me? Or, they go through all these questions. But as you said, if you're placed there, it has to be for a reason. So,
Yes.
you have to, whether it's look at yourself, look at the skill sets that you have, look at what you need to develop. You have to assess yourself to say, okay, this is where I am, but this is where I want to go. And what do you need to get there? All of that
But
is critical.
what I must point out, though, what is important, which a lot of persons probably need to pay attention to, is be self-aware, right? So I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. So because I know what I don't know, I don't play the fool, right? So if somebody comes to me, I'll be like, okay, I am not sure. I will get back to you, right? Because those things are critical. The worst thing is to pretend like you know and you do not know. And so, that's what I've also learned in the journey, when you're not sure how to navigate the waters, be aware of what your strengths are, be aware of your areas of development or improvement. And then when you identify those, you work on them, right? And you work your strengths to your advantage too.
Yeah, that is so true. I recall, what you're saying. I just recalled when I got the manager role. So it was 2013 for a new association, a new industry trade association. Now, I was never a manager before. I worked in admin roles and, project assistant and all of that. But I was like, listen, A lot of university students coming out, you don't get to managerial roles, until you're in your 30s, or, and this is an opportunity. This is what I know. I don't know how to be a manager, but I'm going to figure it out. And I was there for a good 7 years, which that's where I met you.
That's right.
You know that over the years, I would have,
Yes.
grown
I've grown a lot.
and all of that. So it is also a testament to the fact that, yes, you need to be aware of what you know, what skills you have, what you don't know, and of course,
Right.
make a plan, whether it is through training, mentorship,
Mentorship,
mentor,
exactly.
and, pretty much try to develop yourself in whatever areas that you are lacking.
Agreed.
So, a lot of people, and this is something that I find myself. So we celebrate others, and you mentioned earlier, you celebrate your friends, whether they achieve something, whatever. We like to celebrate others or friends, but we might not necessarily celebrate ourselves. So you might achieve something, and it's, oh yeah, pat on the shoulder. But you'll go all out. You'll plan a celebration, a link up, or whatever to celebrate your friend's achievement, right?
Yes, yes.
What would you say to people like myself, and
Right.
others who tend to do that a lot? Why should you celebrate yourself?
So it's important to celebrate yourself because the truth is that you first have to love yourself, right? So if you don't love yourself, I don't see how you can adequately love anybody, right? Because you have to first, it starts with you. Everything starts with you. Now, we spend so much time trying to go after all the things in life, and you're working everything for people. In fact, it's so funny. My husband had a conversation with me last night saying, boy, you're always busy planning things for people, doing all of these things. And, boy, you need to also find time for you. And how about, taking more time for you and celebrate the things? And I said, that is so true that I need to do more of that. Um, and he's like, and it means just some simple things. He's like, just take a break. Just go today and look after yourself. And I said, it's so true because we have been wired all of our lives, right? Like a particular pattern in life. You go to school, you study hard, you get a job, you need to excel, and you do the next thing to get promoted, etc. But who said that's all life should be, right? A lot of the research that you see right now to say why people have so many mental challenges is because they don't take the time to unwind and celebrate who they are. You are so caught up in trying to achieve and achieve and achieve and move on to the next thing. But your body needs release. Your body needs for you to have more relaxed setting. You need to laugh sometime. You need to just do silly things sometimes. You need to, just take away yourself from real work sometimes. And what that simply means is celebrate yourself in little ways. If you like ice cream, you take yourself and go there house, go buy yourself an ice cream. Because today, I had a simple thing today. I wanted to do 10 things at work. I accomplished 3 of them. You celebrate yourself because you did 3. And the 3 are 3 impactful things. It sounds simple, but it's true. Just do that. You might decide sometimes, you know what? I was disciplined enough this week because a lot of us have challenges supporting me with executing what we plan. So like exercising is a big deal for people. When we're so busy, we don't have no time for that, right? But if you set yourself those goals and you say, I'm really going to try to get fit and I'm going to exercise 3 days per week, you do that, you go and you celebrate yourself as well because that's something that you accomplish. Now, I think we should really be intentional about celebrating you as a person and your wins, whether it is small wins and big wins, right? Because the truth is, if you don't do that, sometimes somebody will not even celebrate you because you need to first recognize you. And if you can't take the time to see what value you bring to your sphere, whether it is at church, at home, at work, or persons who interact with you, then you need to reevaluate yourself. And I don't know if this, balanced life is always thing that we try to achieve, but I don't know if there's no real balanced life because there's so many things. But the truth is, you have to find time for you and find time to celebrate you. if you think back of all the things that I am now in the last 10 years, you'll be surprised to see how much growth or things that you have done. And have you stopped to say, you know what? I really did these 4 things or 2 things. How many of us really take the time to do that? No, what it simply means is that when you take the time to breathe, I don't know, for me, it actually helps me sometimes to re energize and to reset. And, when I do a reset, I come back fresh and I'm good again. And so it's always good, I'd say to anybody who does with their friends, yes, continue celebrating your friends, but you must also celebrate you. And celebration comes in many different forms. It doesn't have to be an elaborate, but you can choose one. If you want an elaborate party, that's your option, that's fine. If you want to fly away and go to another country to go explore culture, that's fine. You do that as well. If you want to just take some time with your friends and drive to the country and go to the beach and eat some fish, that's fine. It's just the simple things. And I mean, what I realize is that I'm no longer going to take life for granted, because I've seen where tomorrow you're and tomorrow you're gone. And you don't get to enjoy what you've worked for. So it's really make time for yourself. And it's simple as that. And I mean, the last couple of months have been very challenging for me, because I've seen so many close persons to me and they work very hard. But I remember one of them in particular, he always takes the time to, celebrate milestones and stuff. And so at least we could say, boy, there was a significant milestone of celebration before the passing. And the same thing, another female friend of mine. And this has not really changed my perspective on life to say, what does it profit to gain all these things, all these things in earth, and then you don't even end up having your life right with God, and you still don't even enjoy being here because you're so stressed out all the time. So, I mean, I would just implore anybody. I'm even myself, I'm trying to be consistent on it. I've had to make deliberate effort to say, every month I'm going to celebrate me. I'm going to do something small. I'm going to go away. I'm going to do something. And I've been trying that, and it has been working, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and one of the things too, it's not just about work. Persons need to understand it's not just about achieving. As you rightly said, you have to take that time to kind of take a step back and unwind and recharge, and then move on to the next goal. But one of the things that you said was profound is the fact that you had 10 things on your to-do list and you only achieved 3. But at the same time, those 3 tasks that you have achieved are very significant and impactful. And I think for a lot of persons, sometimes we set goals and we may not achieve them, whether it is in the order that we have them, or all that we have list to do. I know a lot of persons, they do their vision boarding.
Vision board.
Right. So you have this list of things, but when you reach October, November, you realize, I've only achieved 1 or 2 or whatever from the list. But at the same time, the ones that you have achieved, how impactful are they? So you still have to celebrate. So I really, found value in you using that example just now.
Excellent.
Casia, what lesson did you learn this year that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Wow. This year has been a very interesting year. It has been a one of learning, one of self-discovery, one of growth and development from a personal and professional perspective, and also one of deep reflection and, like making more intentional choices, right? So, what I would say, if I had to narrow down to like probably 2 or 3 things that I learned this year, was one about, being a leader, you really have to listen a lot, right? And it's what I'm learning to still do properly. A lot of us, we listen, but maybe it's not active listening. It's listening to answer to what you want or what you think that the person is saying, but you're not taking the time to really listen, because when you lead a team, oftentimes is what is not said. That is what is really the situation. And you have to listen to what is being said in order to derive out what are the real root cause or what are they saying for you to provide a solution to as a leader. So that is one of the big things I think, and it also comes across in all aspects of my life, but personally as well in listening more. Listening more is one of the biggest things, biggest lesson I think I've learned for this year is take the time to slow down and to really, when you're having conversation with different persons from all aspects of your life, you have to take the time to really hear what they're saying in what they're not saying, so you can be a better leader, a better mentor, a better friend, a better wife or partner. That's one thing that I've learned, and it's I still learning in progress for me, because it's being deliberate to slow down, manage my thoughts, and really paying attention to the person. Right, so that's one big lesson for me. The other thing that I would say that I've learned in this year as well is um, to thy own self be true in every situation, right? And that means don't be afraid to speak up, even if you are the only person that have that belief, right? And even if you look like you're the outcast, it's okay to be the outcast sometimes, because the truth is that sometimes you need people that are different in order for things to be created or new things to be born or ideas to come about. And so I've learned that it's okay. I don't have to be liked by everybody, but I know I'm bringing value, right? And by bringing value is wherever I go and I open my mouth or I speak or even my life before I open, just by being around me, you get some value, because the spirit that I carry is one where you will feel that presence of positivity. Yeah. So I've learned speak up. It's okay not to be the favorite in the room, but not being the favorite means that you are being authentic and true to yourself. And at the end of the day, people are going to see the real you, because people want the real you. People don't want the made up or trying to fit in. Be you.
Yeah, that's some powerful words right there. What you're talking and what came to me is, innovation doesn't come from comfort, and heroes and heroines, they don't come out of conformity, and you have to be
Exactly.
different. You don't have to be complacent. You don't have to, just go with the flow. Once you see something, there's a you have a passion for something, or you see a way to make a difference, or you don't agree. You don't necessarily have to agree. You can't disagree with something, but it's how you choose to handle it. So certainly, those are some powerful gems that is worth noting.
Yes, definitely. And I probably say the last one I will share is um, invest in you. And invest in you means what it is in learning, what it is in taking the time to really discover yourself. It's what it's to take time to celebrate you in whatever way, that shape or form that is. And or it's just taking the time to really work on the things that you love. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, combined would most definitely result in a more balanced you, because you're in tune with the different aspects of your life when you do that. So
That's
that's
right.
great. Yeah. What are you most grateful for?
Wow. Hmm. There are so many things I'm grateful for, but I think more so these days I'm grateful for life, right?
I knew that's what you were gonna say.
I'm so grateful for I can wake up. I still have a sound mind. Everything is in full working mode.
Functional.
I'm grateful it's functional. I can have a conversation with somebody. I've realized that I don't take anything for granted anymore. The simplest things in life, I'm thankful for that, because there are persons who wake up today, can't walk, can't talk, can't move, can't communicate, want to communicate but not able to do so, cannot even understand. And so for me, those little things I'm not going to take for granted. I'm so grateful for being alive. And I choose to look at being alive. What does that mean? How am I showing up every day? Right? And so I constantly look at myself and say, okay, when people come in contact with me, can they also, so they're grateful that they met me, right? Can they say they're grateful that whatever I shared impact, empowered, or inspired their life? Or whether or not they're saying, by meeting me, that something about me, what I did or say, caused them to be thankful that they had an interaction, whether it is physically, whether it is now we're talking online, just by even hearing me talk, you don't know me, but that's it. And so those things I look at grateful that I have the opportunity to show up, can change somebody's life some every day. I can share from my own experiences, that is also good and bad experiences, so that you can become a better you, because you'd have learned from past mistakes, other person's mistakes, as well as the failures, right? I know we're talking about celebration, but that's one thing I think I want to brush on. Julia, you asked me about grateful for, but I also want to talk about that part of failure that a lot of us today, I was reflecting and I'm saying a lot of us are afraid to fail, right? And failure is okay. It's okay. Failure is what builds strength. It builds endurance, resilience, and I'll tell you, a lot of the billionaires or impactful leaders in the world, they failed, and through the failure, they've been able to rise up and build empire and impact and inspire and change people's life. And so I just want to encourage all of your listeners, your viewers, give thanks every day for the small things, but also don't be afraid to fail, because failure is a part of your journey. And it is through failure you're going to learn to become a true overcomer and be victorious, because you can't build muscle by not having any challenges. You build muscle by going through adversities, by going through difficult times. And that's how you even discover yourself too. You discover yourself because you didn't know that you were this strong. You didn't know you had that inside of you to dig deep and go beyond and above. So I just want to say, don't be afraid of failing, and give thanks every day for having another day to fix what you didn't do right the day before, because every day is a chance to make something great. And so my thing is, I live one day at a time. I'm no longer going to worry about next year or 5 years from now, because I can only change what is today. I can't change tomorrow. I can plan for tomorrow, but I only can change what is today. And so my word to you is, look at what you can change every day. Be grateful for that time to change and make the change.
And of course, celebrate the change.
And
Whatever it
celebrate the change, right?
is.
I can't leave out that word, celebrate the change. Yes, please. And go out and have fun, right? Love yourself, right? Be happy with who you are. You were created to be great, to inspire, to love, to celebrate you, to impact, share your talents, share your joy, your accomplishments, and change somebody. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Casia, you spoke about a lot of things today. Of course, celebrate your small wins. Appreciate the challenges that comes with life. Or any aspect of your life. Of course, bloom where you're planted. No matter what situation or position you have been placed in. You need to assess yourself and know what your goals are and what you need to get to your goals, having identified what your shortcomings are. And of course, not only live, not only exist, you wake
Yeah.
up, you're alive, but also to live and experience life and have fun and celebrate yourself. So thank
That's
you
right.
so much for coming in the Prudent Corner. We really do appreciate you, taking the time to have this conversation with me, and of course, by extension, the listeners and the viewers on the different platforms. We really appreciate the words of wisdom that you have imparted today. And of course, we wish you all the best in your role, which seems to be expanding every year. And you can tell me next year, how it has grown into something else. But as usual, I know you, do well and continue to do well with, anything that is placed before you. You will conquer and do well.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was my pleasure being here.
Awesome. All my listeners on the various podcast platforms and viewers on YouTube, I just want to extend my sincere gratitude and thanks for you tuning in to this week's episode. And I hope you find this session useful. And I hope going forward, you all will celebrate yourselves at every stage, at every venture, every accomplishment as you go on in this thing called life.